Excellent. Yeah, we can go ahead and get started. All right, so what we'll do here today, I think our attendee list is at a manageable point. So what we'll do is we'll just go around the room and I'll call out your name and you can give your location and then when and where your first ASAB international meeting. Actually, I guess we can start off, just go through the agenda real quick. We'll do welcome and introductions. That's what I was referring to there. And then we'll have a quick breakout on what your best international meeting experience or maybe your best recent, or you can kind of pick which one there, but we'll break out into smaller groups to talk about that and then come back together. And then we'll go through kind of just some different things about International Meeting 2021 and finish out with a Q&A for the presenters. So with that, we'll go through welcome and introductions. My name is Chuck Roth. I'm currently serving as the chair of the MDC, the Membership Development Council within ASABE. I live and work in Cedar Falls, Iowa, Northeast Iowa. And my first ASAB international meeting was 2004 in Ottawa. So I'll go down the list here and I'll call out names and you guys can respond. I'll just go through the list as it shows up on my computer. So Jasper.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jasper Cunningham. I work on staff at ASABE in the membership department. And last year's first virtual AIM was my first annual meeting out of the comfort of my condo in Holland.
Todd Forbush.
Yeah, I'm in Lansing, Michigan, Techmark Incorporated. First international meeting was probably 86 in Chicago. Student club, going down to those meetings when they were in the winter. So at that point, there were two meetings, winter and summer, and that was my first one.
All right, next is Scott Cedarquist.
Good afternoon. I'm Scott Cedarquist. I'm on staff at ASABE in the standards and the technical area. I'm at headquarters, which is in St. Joe, Michigan, but I'm calling in from my farm, which is near Bangor, between South Haven and Bangor, Michigan. My first international meeting was Sacramento in 2001. I left the Consumers Energy for those, Consumers Power, when I first started, for those that live in Michigan, and joined ASABE. And 3 weeks later, in July of 2001, I was in Sacramento learning the ropes.
All right, Alicia.
Hi, I'm Alicia Modenbach. I'm a lecturer at the University of Kentucky in Lexington, Kentucky. And my first meeting was 2005 Tampa.
Maury.
Hi, everyone. It's Maury Sauls. I'm past president. It's currently sitting in Western Iowa at our home, just outside of Omaha, Nebraska. And I honestly can't remember my first one, but I can remember probably my favorite one was Spokane. It's before I had to do anything. So that was where I could actually do the conference. So that was fun. Anyway, that's all I have. Thanks.
Deepak.
Deepak Keshwani. I'm a faculty member at the University of Nebraska in Biological Systems Engineering. My first official, I guess, conference was also Sacramento, but not a great active participant. I was an undergrad student member then, but actively probably it was in Minneapolis, 2007. One of my first presentations at a technical session. So that's the hallmark for that session for me.
Bethany.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bethany Brittingham. I'm a design engineer. I work for ISG in Des Moines, Iowa, so central Iowa. And my first AIM was Kansas City, and I think it was 2013, but I was there with our Fountain Wars team. So.
Mark.
Hello, Mark Diltz from currently New Holland, Pennsylvania. Work for CNH. I believe my first ASAB was, or international meeting was in Minneapolis in 2007.
All right, my thing's jumping around on me here. Let's see, Scott Mueller. Oh, sorry.
Yep,
There's two
can't
Scott.
talk when you're on mute.
Go ahead,
Scott Miller, I work for NRCS in Wisconsin. Been doing that for 33 odd years or so. When Todd mentioned the Chicago meetings, it was going, ooh, is that my first one as well? And I don't think it was. I think my first one was winter of 1988, but again in Chicago.
All right, and is it Grant Clark?
Yeah, that's right. I'm in Montreal. I'm a faculty member at McGill University. I'm kind of in a similar boat. I was an undergraduate student at the University of Alberta, so I was involved in regional meetings and summer winter meetings in the Pacific Northwest for a while back in the mid 80s, I think, but I can't remember when my first full international meeting was.
Right, we did Deepak. Darren, name, location, when was your first international meeting?
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Darren Drawlinger, the executive director with ASABE. Fortunately, I have the list. I pulled it out of all the history of the annual meetings because I kind of sort of remember pieces and parts, but I think 1991 Albuquerque, New Mexico was my first.
All right, Paula.
Hi, I'm in Lansing, Michigan today, and I work with USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service. And I'm thankful Alicia remembered the year because I was debating it, but it was Tampa Bay. So it was what, 2005.
And Doug.
Doug Otto, driveline engineer with CNH out of New Holland, Pennsylvania. I think my first international meeting was the Dallas meeting, which I think was in 2010. But then I've been attending ATEC for every year since 2000. So I'm much more involved with ATEC at first, but then and since every international meeting since Dallas.
And Lee.
Yeah, my name is Lee Rosa, product safety engineer with Vermeer Corporation in Pella, Iowa. And my first annual international meeting was in Spokane, 2017.
Okay, thanks everybody. Next, we'll do a breakout session. And so in this, the idea, again, as I said earlier, kind of your best or most standout experience, and just share that with your group. And maybe while we're at it, if you can nominate a spokesperson and kind of share if your group has kind of a consensus of what was the nature of those experiences. Was it, and I'm kind of thinking like, was it like a technical experience? Was it a standards? Was it a student competition? What was it as a group? Was there kind of a consensus of what it was, or was there kind of different aspects that that you had? So Jasper, can you set us up for breakouts, kind of random breakouts? Is that possible? There you go. All right. We'll see you guys in about 5 minutes or so.
Do we lose Chuck?
There he is.
Hey, sorry, I'm slow. We we were trying to figure out what exactly we were going to say. So, and Alicia, I think Alicia was volunteered. Jasper, how many rooms did we have?
There were 3 rooms.
Okay, Alicia, you want to speak for room 1 then?
Sure, I can. I don't know if I got all of your thoughts in there because we were kind of cut off right there at the end, but I think the majority of us said it was the social interactions with members across the discipline that really meant something to us. So early in our careers, we started out kind of within our own areas, and it was as we got more comfortable in ASABE and we started to broaden out what we were involved with, we were able to meet and work and kind of grow our interest across the discipline as well. Chuck, did that kind of capture halfway what you were trying to say there at the end?
I couldn't said it better.
Okay.
I just wanted to add one quick thing, and that is what I mentioned was the early interaction of how the career was going to be. So a mentoring, I mean, that is social, but it's really important, I think, that we look at that mentoring aspect when we think about what's important in a meeting. So across disciplines, but also across, generation, if you want to even say it that way.
Sure.
Absolutely. Yes. Thanks.
All right. Somebody from room 2.
So we had several different benefits and we couldn't really lump them into one thing. So you talked about the people, certainly bumping into people, as well as being able to see the tremendous breadth of which ag engineering is, bumping into other people from other disciplines. Competitions and the sweet victory of winning. So that was another one. And then also the opportunity for tours or some of the fundraising events, being able to see the different sites and the different venues that the meetings are held at.
And room 3.
Ours was very similar to the first room, talked a lot about the meetings that had high levels of opportunities for social connections, interactions, both in the meeting venue, but also outside of the meeting venue, right? And how some of the most memorable meetings are ones where there was plenty of opportunities to gather at a restaurant or at the, outside the meeting venue, and compared and contrasted a couple of meetings where we had great facilities, but we were kind of on an island, right? We couldn't really go out and have those interactions. So that popped up. That was sort of a theme that emerged in all of our discussions.
Yeah, thanks, Deepak. I would agree there. We've definitely had those meetings, right, where you're on an island. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, let me get my technical going here again.
Having said that, I'd be completely open to having a meeting in Hawaii. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we'll kind of step into a little bit more of the meat and potatoes, so to speak, of the program. So first, I think, Jasper, this was for you to speak on. I can click this button, get us over to asabemeetings.org. Can everybody still see my screen here?
Yep.
Or can you see the website? Maybe that's a better way to ask it, because I think I was just sharing. Okay, good. All right. So Jasper, do you want to walk us around? I can click buttons where you say to click, or
sure, certainly.
whatever.
So wanted to take a couple of minutes and just talk about the information available. A lot of our annual international meeting information is housed on a separate website, traditional from asabe.org, but it's asabemeetings.org. And that will take you and have all the current and up-to-date information. So the first one, we've kind of passed some of our deadlines and all of our information for submitting papers. So the first tab we'll click on, Chuck, is the agenda and program. In this houses all of the different agendas and programs based on whether it's a technical community you're looking at, a community, a membership community, specifically young professionals or students, and then also just a general program overview where you can go and have an overview of all of the different sessions that will take place. Scott will get a little bit further into detail under committees to convene when we talk about technical committee sessions. And so the next one we'll also go to is the contacts tab. If you have questions for your technical community area, the information of those contacts is available. And then also Jessica Bell, who runs our meetings area within ASABE. If you have specific questions, you can contact her there, and also the meetings council or AIM program chair. And then our last tab is going to be registration, which houses our simple, relatively quick registration process. So if we click here, it will take you to the module where you can actually enter in all of your information, and you have the ability to create a new registration, or if you've already registered, modify your registration. So that is a kind of a quick, simple overview of all of the tools we have on our online website. But now we're going to go a little bit further into some of the technical committee and involvement that takes place. And Scott is going to kind of kick us off for that.
Okay, thank you, Jasper. I have 5 slides, Chuck. If you're going to put them up, okay.
I've got them inserted here, so yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I had them ready to go in case. Sorry, I can't share my camera today. Something seems to have gone wrong with it. I'll have to get that checked out. So like Jasper said, when you go look, there would be technical sections and posters and different choices you would have. You would also see committees to convene. And a lot of people think when they're going to go to the annual meeting, they're going to get technical content. They think of the sessions and the posters. Well, I want to make a case that you should consider, you know, becoming involved in a technical committee, one of the committees to convene. And that's the second link that was on the slide that we had. And here is the list. And I'll go through some different thoughts on why you would want to do this and just how big of a community this is when you look at it from the 30,000 foot level within the society. So as you can see, there's nearly 100 different committees listed there. Most are within the actual AIM week. Some have chosen to meet outside just because of the schedule pressures.
I don't know if there's any if there's any particular of interest, but I can drop this link into, I think there's a chat window I can drop it into if I can figure out how to work this this tool here. So
I think that's the sessions, not the committees.
Oh, that's sessions. Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Oh my goodness. That's sessions, committees to convene.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I was wondering where the
and some of you are already very tied in with this. Some of those that are on the call today, and some of you have not experienced these. So this is another opportunity. If you've got a badge for the meeting, you can participate in any of these that you want.
Thanks, Paula.
No problem.
So, yep, I can flip back to your presentation here, Scott.
Okay. Thanks for scrolling down and showing.
No problem. No problem. So yeah, so actually we did that in reverse order, right? So the second one I pulled up was committees to convene, and then the previous one was tech sessions and posters.
Yeah, so both of these are open to annual meeting attendees. And again, there's about 100 different committees that will meet during AIM week. So next slide, please. So just do it. I would suggest you attend the meeting if you haven't done it. You get professional development, you get exposed to evolving technology, but you get to see people in action, talking about technical topics, running meetings. You may not find a formal mentor, but you are going to get some mentoring through example. And also, when you get to know people at these meetings, when you have a question afterwards, because you have a network, they maybe remember you from the meeting. If you call or email them, they're more likely to say, oh yeah, I met them at the committee meeting, and maybe give you an answer or help you. So the committees have a lot of variety on what they focus on. And there's kind of two ends of the spectrum. One end would be the technically focused. They're there mainly to share information, to plan sessions at the annual meeting, to talk about their research. On the other end, there's the committees that are almost totally focused on standards work, like the ASABE Tractor Committee almost exclusively talks about tractor standards, but a lot of them are sort of mixed. They will talk about technical topics. They will talk about maybe a session that they want to help plan for the next annual meeting, and they may have a couple standards assigned. So I'm going to focus a little bit on standards now. Standards work brings people together with a common purpose. In some cases, from the industry side, it's competitors. So there you may have fierce competitors at a table working on this common purpose, which will benefit all the companies, and many times safety, including safety in the standard. A lot of standards have safety in the title, or at least in the keywords, whether it's grain bins or manure lagoons or combines. There's an awful lot of safety focus out there. So next slide, please. So why are standards important? These are two slides I really like to kind of fall back on. The right slide is a map of the roads in the Roman Empire. The left side is Pompeii in Italy. I was blessed to be able to go there about 12 years ago. And if you see in the middle of the screen, 3 stepping stones. Well, those stepping stones are spaced so that the chariot and wagon wheels could pass between the stones. And through this entire Roman Empire, the guide said, you will find the stepping stones with the same exact spacing, because otherwise things don't work well if the stepping stones don't match the wagons and the chariots. And probably also if someone else came in who wasn't part of the club, so to speak, they might not have the right wheel spacing to get in and use the roads either. So that would probably deter them. So next slide, please. So I'm gonna, just a few numbers I'll throw out here. There's over 200 technical committees, and over half of these will meet in or around AIM. So you think about this community, there's over 2,000, just over 2,000 individual participants, members and some non-members that have been invited because of their expertise, and they fill over 6,000 positions. So you will have some people who are only on one committee for one reason, and you'll have others that are on 24 committees because their job kind of requires that they keep an eye. And I'm going to mention voting and observing here, and again on the last slide. If you just want to sort of watch what a committee does and learn, many of them allow observing members. So you wouldn't have to really be expected to vote and expected to participate at that next level. Right now, these committees, they have published and approved 283 ASABE standards under the ANSI process. And we have 16 committees within the society that we administer that does ISO work for the US. So that would be the ISO process works one country, one vote, and we have to come up with a position for the US. And they have about 400 standards that they coordinate. So that goes from fertilizers, that we work with the Fertilizer Institute, to all kinds of ag equipment, to biogas, solid biofuels, food machinery, feed machinery, and management systems for food safety. So there's a lot there. So there's almost something for everyone in the profession if you start looking through the committees and the standards that they work on. So next slide, please. So my last slide, I put this mountain scene in. Getting involved in the committee is not like climbing this mountain. Connecting during AIM week, especially virtually, would be easy. You can drop in on a committee. If they're not meeting during AIM week, but you've got an interest in this, I would suggest you reach out to the chair and find out, if, especially if their schedule says they're going to meet the Friday before, like sustainability and some will. If you don't know who the chair is, there is website access to the rosters. If you don't know, you haven't done that before, you have any questions, you can get a hold of headquarters. There's an email there. And then I've got my contact below as well. And again, most committees offer voting and observing membership. So it's not, if you want to get involved on an ongoing basis, you don't have to make a huge commitment just to kind of see what's going on. So I would suggest you just do it and you try one if you haven't done it before. And if you have done it before, please offer encouragement to others to get involved. So with that, thank you. I appreciate the time to talk to you this afternoon.
All right. Thanks, Scott. And we'll hold questions till the end just so we can make sure we get through the rest of the stuff here. We're running a little behind, I think. Student competition. Bethany, do you want me to pull up the website?
You sure can. Yep. And shout out to Scott for talking about committee involvement, because student competitions have committees too. So each competition usually has like a rules committee or a group that will get together, and as a part of that group, they'll help pick judges. If you go to the student tab on the schedule.
Yeah, let me see if I can figure
That's
out
okay.
here what
I
I'm
can
doing.
keep talking. So this year there are 5 student competitions that are live, and by live in quotations, the way they're usually running is it'll be the top 3 from each event, and they'll have a live presentation, not a live competition. So take Fountain Wars, for instance. All of the judging portion is done ahead of time, except for the oral presentation part that will fit in this time slot. Yeah, and there's 5 student competitions. They're split between Monday and Wednesday. And usually it's the top 3 individuals based on the preliminary judging, which could be like reports or a video submission or something like that. And then each of those committees will have a corresponding P12X committee. So if you want to be involved in the student organization portion as a whole, that's P120. And then each of those would have a subcommittee that are related directly to that competition. So if you're super passionate about water, go join P121. So that's the gun logs and student environmental competition. If you're super excited about quarter scale, then that's your 126 and 127. Nope, just 126. And then we're also bringing back the AEM competition, except we're going to have to change the name and bylaws and that kind of thing. So there's a student engagement task force. And as a part of that, we are looking at ways for student branches to nominate each other and then bring that group of students to AIM, provide YPC involvement for like some mentorship kind of in your age group to get groups incorporated. So you see it on there, it's not the same thing, but you should totally come join us so we can talk about how to make that happen. And I think that'll put you hopefully back on schedule.
I think we're good. Yeah. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right. And then next we've got Deepak. I think I've asked Deepak to share a little bit about the virtual tool. I know last year was kind of a trial by fire for us on the virtual side of things. This year, I know Deepak, Doug Otto, and the rest of the meetings council has done a fantastic job getting us prepared for international meeting to go virtual again this year. And so, Deepak, you want to share your screen? I can stop sharing. You can share if that works for you.
Yeah, well, appreciate that. So I'll just start with some few comments, and Doug's online, so he can chime in and correct me if I'm wrong. But obviously, last year was the pace at which we transitioned in plans was quite a feat. I think having got to where we were in that short amount of time and pull off a meeting. Obviously, I can't thank staff enough at headquarters for how quickly they were able to turn around and provide the platform they did. Having said that, obviously we learned a lot, right, in this first go around last year on how to do a virtual meeting. And one of the things we did was we had an intentional outreach to members to collect information, about what went well, what didn't go so well, what are aspects of the meeting that you liked and kind of wanted to build on. So the meetings council really captured a lot of that information, and Doug can chime in here, but we spent months digging into and talking about some of those things within meetings council, but also with our staff, partly so that, you know, as it started to look pretty likely that we may have another year of virtual meetings, or thinking about the promise from virtual meetings to engage members who may not be able to come to a physical meeting, or may use a virtual meeting as a way first step into engaging the ASAB. So there's a lot of you know, different priorities, different ideas that were thrown at us. And so what we did was we went about looking at what platforms were available for comparable size organizations and conferences. So that was one approach we took. The other thing we realized was, you know, when it was looking like ATEC was going to be virtual, we had an opportunity to pick a platform that we could use with ATEC, learn, and if it made sense, we could then use that experience towards building a meaningful aim, right? And that was kind of, in a nutshell, our strategy that we took this year as Meetings Council. Doug, if you want to chime in here from your perspective as Chair of Meetings Council.
No, I mean, Deepak, I agree. I think all those things are exactly what we've done, and in an effort to try to take what we learned last year and expand on that, and then pick a tool that was easy to use, that was a bit more intuitive, and that we could kind of explore and help do these kind of things, where even now we've got enough experience with it, we can share some of the things in advance of the meeting. So that's really where we are. And then after this meeting, we'll have to have some more discussion about how we move this into a kind of a hybrid meeting beyond this, to engage the people that we're able to get with this virtual platform that we won't be able to in a in-person meeting.
Thanks, Doug. And so a few things as I get into a little bit of demo and show and tell. One thing we heard loud and clear was access to content asynchronously. That was important for them to be able to have some of that early access. It was also important for people to engage. I think that's one lesson we learned last year, was that we wanted more opportunities to connect with our members, just like we do in an annual meeting, right? We run into people in the hallway. We want to follow up on a poster or a presentation. You know, that element was a little missing last year, right? So keep those things in mind as I share my screen. So when members, when they sign up for the conference, you'll get registered, and you will get an email at some point that looks a little like this, where you'll kind of get your login information, right? It's just a simple link that'll access the virtual conference platform. And when you do click on that link, it'll actually directly take you to the virtual platform, which is one of the immediate things you'll notice. It's not flashy, but it's simple. As a lot of information is right in front of you, right? So this is kind of the landing page. You know, you'll find some basic welcome information. There will be a message from our president welcoming people to the meeting. It gives you some guidance to, you know, how to use the site. Some general tips, encourages you to test your Zoom connection, because embedded in the meetings platform is Zoom, right? Behind the shell that we're going to present, all our meetings, most of them anyway, will function on Zoom. So making sure that your Zoom software that's on your computer is tested, your audio and video are working. So you've got a couple of weeks, Scott, to fix that camera. Things like that, you know, work out those quirks. So it talks a little bit about that. We also want to highlight our sponsors. So that's right up there in our first page. So, but the real thing I want to show you is just, this is at the top. You know, it's kind of designed much like a website, right? You're kind of used to navigating a website in the top menu. So we kind of decided to keep it that way, where everything you need is sort of right within one click or two away, right? That was one thing we heard last year was, well, I got to click through like 6 different places to get to where I need to be. So if I, you know, want to, for example, look at posters that are available, right? I click on the posters tab, and it will pop up a list of all the different posters out there that people have submitted. There's a poster gallery. There's a really neat search function, right? So that's one way to get to posters. When you click on a poster, it actually opens up the poster as a PDF file, and the authors actually have little recordings that they have submitted about their poster. So you can kind of learn from the author's perspective what this poster, simple 2-minute recordings, I believe, very quick, direct to the point, gives you a little information about who the author is here. And I want you to remember that aspect, that the author information is here. So this is just quick and easy access to posters. And you'll notice some of the posters are already available. More are coming as we get closer to the conference. We're constantly putting more content here. So by the time members get access to this next week, you're going to have all the content, including all the asynchronous sessions here. If you click on the program overview tab, it kind of details by day what's going on July 12th, for example. What are the different meetings, very similar to that booklet that you would have gotten at an AIM meeting. So it's kind of organized that way by day. We've got a special tab for YPC and ISB. So kind of listing what they want to do, their goals, their information, because YPC has taken upon themselves to do some really creative things year after year. And online, this is no exception. They're really wanting to document and highlight the work that they're doing. They give click links to their events that they're doing. They're even doing a virtual 5K fun run. I'm not sure how that works, but it's happening, I've been told. So again, for a lot of us that were trying to drive interest among our young members, we wanted to highlight the YPC activities. Now, if you look at the schedule, which is kind of the main place where you will be engaging with trying to figure out what to do in the meeting. So when you look at your schedule, you'll see it's organized by days, and different days have different activities. So I'm going to start on Friday, which is the first day of the conference. And I have a meetings council here meeting that I've favorited, right? So I added it onto my favorite, and automatically my favorites tab is generated, right? So you can go through when you get access on July 6th, and you can go through the entire conference and create what events you want to attend, and you can populate your favorites. You can also directly import it to your Google Outlook or iCalendar, right from the platform, which is going to be really helpful for. So Paul, you just asked, is there a way to build your own schedule? This is exactly where you do it. And anytime you come back, your favorite schedules are here. You can keep them here, or you can export them to your calendar. You can also search for sessions. We've got a pretty good keyword and title search. You can sort by the type of session, whether it's a committee meeting, a plenary talk, or a presentation. You can also sort by technical communities, right? So if you're looking for a live session versus a simulated live session, you can search by that too, or you want to just search posters. So again, this is a major improvement where you can search by session type and also by the technical community, and you can have those interactions effects that we weren't able to do last year. So this is going to be a really powerful tool. Now, the most important thing that we heard was engagement, right? So one of the cool things that this Open Waters platform has is a chat function, right? And this chat feature is actually going to be used heavily during the conference. In fact, we're going to have the poster moderators introduce the speakers and drive the conversation between participants and poster presenters in the chat feature. So it's as simple as launching chat. And when you open that up, this is sort of the general framework. The cool thing about this is if I want to say catch up with Bethany, because I haven't seen Bethany since I don't know when the last meeting was, right? And I want to chat with her, I can start a video call during the conference with Bethany if she's online, right? And we can do that right here. You can send chat requests to people and say, hey, I want to catch up on this. I saw you present a poster on Tuesday, or I missed your live talk. I want to have questions on it. You can leave a message for people, and they will get that message and they can reach out and you can schedule a time. We have predefined some group chat topics. So these are things like, YPC's already been active. They put some few things in here. We've got a student room. We've got poster session channels already ready to go, right? And so those are some of the cool things that we can do. One of the things about this thing is you actually have to create your profile and you have to be visible in the directory. So the default setting, we ask people have to opt in to do this, right? I think it is a security aspect for why we couldn't opt out because of our international nature of our meeting and compliance with European guidelines. We have to make sure people intentionally opt in order to do this. So you know, maybe you have to make sure that you edit your profile. You know, I've put in here things that I'm interested in talking about at this meeting. I uploaded my picture. And here's where, if you really want to maximize your engagement, these are the things you want to check off, right? Please show me in the directory, and you want to notify me when somebody sends me a request, right? If I'm already online engaged, that's great. But what if I step away half a day because I've had enough Zoom for that day, but I don't want to miss out on somebody who saw my presentation and wants to talk to me. So this way I can get notified. And then I save that, and then you're good to go. Again, you can look if there's any pending chat requests. You can look at the attendee directory. You can send them a chat request. You can also put your LinkedIn profile on here, right? So as more people get access to this platform, you're going to see more of this populate with the attendee directory. There's a question in here about handling time zones. I believe everything that we have, obviously, if you favorite a session and you export that to your calendar, it's going to automatically account for time zones in that. But everything that we have developed for the platform, we're publicly saying that everything is on Central Standard Time. And if you notice, we've kind of kept the live sessions sort of in the middle part of the day, and not too early in the morning and not too late in the day, so that we can make sure that we're kind of capturing as many people as we can, given the global nature of what we do. Another question here, is there a way to mute notifications? Yes, you can. You can actually go in and set those and change those notifications on and off anytime as you see fit during the conference. So you can adjust your chat profile how you see fit based on your involvement. So if you're really busy on day one, you don't want to be bothered, you can basically deactivate your chat profile for that day. The other thing we want to show is the exhibitors tab, because I think one of the things that we enjoy a lot is having our members interact with our exhibitors. So we actually have a virtual exhibit hall, you know, where you can kind of look at the different vendors. For example, AEM, again, you can favorite them as well. You know, each of them has the opportunity to provide a short video if they took advantage of that. You can click on them, view the details of their sort of their virtual sort of booth, so to speak. You can join a chat with them if you're wanting to engage with the vendor as well. So again, this has made sort of that vendor interaction as well more like what we're used to, where I'm scrolling through, this is interesting to me, I want to talk to somebody about it. So those are some of the ways I think we've responded to the engagement piece that our members desired. So we've also, because of the simplicity of the platform and how I think it responds a lot quicker, right? There's not a lot of lag. You don't have to go through, you know, a virtual, you know, three-dimensional simulation, although that was really nice to have. It was pretty, but it wasn't very responsive at times. So we feel pretty confident with our current platform provider. I know Jessica Bell at ASAB headquarters is working really hard to get the content going. And I can't stress enough, what's really going to help us is having used it already with ATEC and having learned from the capabilities and improve upon that. And there are many more of us members now that have some familiarity with this platform. So I'll leave it at that. I'm mindful of time, but I'm happy to answer any questions if you need to follow up down the road.
Maybe just one real quick. It's right at the top of your, above where it says my favorites, Friday, Monday, etc. Times are displayed in Central Time.
Central Time, yeah.
Can you just up a little bit from there?
Yep.
Can you just change that real quick for us? We can kind of watch that happen. Up maybe 3 rows of text.
Yeah.
Down one.
Okay.
And there you go. Change. Just out of curiosity.
So let's go to, say, our friends in Alaska at the University of Anchorage. There you go. And it changed it to 6:30 a.m.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. Does that answer everybody's question on that?
I better change it back, otherwise I'll be in trouble.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions, I guess, for Deepak? I think this is really awesome, Deepak. I'm really excited. I was telling Doug via IM here just how awesome this looks.
And if I'm correct, I just heard from Jessica that our Helms Briscoe partners are going to have a orientation navigation video tutorial. That's what Jessica told me last week. So that'll be available next week on the website, just in case, my little 5-minute thing wasn't like good enough. But I was actually planning to do one, but Jessica told me I'm off the hook. So
Great. Well, that was the last topic we had. Again, is there any other questions for anybody on the call? All right, if not, really looking forward to using that platform you've got there, Deepak and Doug. Like I said, I think I just think it's going to be awesome. Looks like it's going to be a really useful tool. And you guys have leveraged the experiences we've had in the last 12 months to make that happen in a great way. So that's awesome. Otherwise, if there's nothing else, no other questions, we'll plan on talking to most, if not all of you here in about a week and a half. I think things kind of ramp up on the 9th and come into full swing on